And welcome to Chaotic Riff Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.chaoticriff.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and our special guest today is the metal queen goddess herself, Doro. How are you doing today, Doro?
Hey, very good, very good. I just had my first big festival in Belgium. I just came back from Belgium, and it was so great to play a really nice festival again. So yeah, I'm in a good mood. Everything's good.
And let me ask you, yeah, you're in a very good mood today, and you have a lot of reason. Now, in regards to that, was that your first show in quite a while, you know, since we've had all these lockdowns around the world and stuff?
Yeah, actually, I did many shows, but they were like different kinds, like drive-in shows.
Oh, wow.
Beach chair shows, and that was the first really big open-air festival, like in a normal setting, and oh man, I felt great. That was awesome. And yeah, it was different, and you know, everybody had a great time. The fans were on fire, and and it got, you could see it all over the world. They streamed it.
Wow.
So I thought it was and and lots of fans from America and so on.
I dig that too, because you know, talking about locking everybody down for the last year, depending on, you know, where you were in the world, I dig, you know, finding new ways to still get out there and, like you're saying, doing these different types of live shows. It's so rock and roll, you know. Don't let anybody lock you down. You still get out there. You're still doing your thing. That's so awesome.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, if I can't go on tour, then I do something useful. And then I went into the studio and was working on some stuff, and always, you know, always keeping busy. That was good. Like I never got the time to get depressed. And I was always working on something. So that felt really good. And
now, Doro, we're talking to you today. I'm sorry, we're talking to you today because you have a new album coming out, Triumph Agony Live. It's coming out on September 24th. And what I wanted to ask you is, this is like the 33rd anniversary of this album when it originally came out in 1987. So, is that part of a reason that you thought, hey, let's kind of do a live version of this?
Yes, actually, we did a couple of shows, festivals, big festivals, and some tours in the States, in Spain, and that was actually for the 30th anniversary. And I called up my old guitar player from the Warlock times. He was on the Triumph Agony. He was Tommy Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Tommy, you know, we have the 30th anniversary of Triumph Agony. Shall we do this album in its entirety for the first time? He said, oh, Doro, I was waiting for this phone call for 30 years. Let's do it. And we always stayed friends, but we never talked about doing this whole album. So we did it a few years ago, and when we were rehearsing the songs, that was so nice. We were overjoyed, and a couple of songs we have never played live ever. We didn't even rehearse them. So that was great. So we did a couple of shows and festivals, and the first festival was actually Sweden Rock, which is a really great festival. Very nice, like tons of people, I think 1,000, and it's very well organized, and now we recorded it. We did record in many places, but Sweden Rock was the best. The camera work was great, and all the microphones and all the instruments were top notch. So you could really tell, man, that's something. And and then when we knew that we couldn't go on tour anymore this year, which actually I thought, last year was like a disaster, but this year, you know, in the beginning of this year, everybody said, no, it's getting postponed and cancelled. And then I thought, okay, I go back into the studio and check all our material, and then we did the Triumph Agony Live, and I'm so happy.
Talk about perfect timing, you know? Wow. You know, being... Next year is the 35th anniversary, but it's coming out later this year, so we can celebrate all year next year. Of course, and you know, I wanted to ask you about that because, you know, this was recorded, as you said, at Sweden Rock Fest, and that's always been one of those festivals, you know, these big European festivals, and being from Germany and, you know, European yourself, that must have been a very special place, you know, like if you're going to do a live album, you know, you're going to do it somewhere from Europe, because that's your homeland, right? No, actually, I would have loved to do it in the States, too. And we did great shows in the States, but we didn't record it. It was not recorded with cameras. And, you know, I thought, man, I wished... I would have loved to do it, but we didn't even really plan on it. We were just playing live and celebrating 30th anniversary. So it was, and actually, if
we wouldn't have had all these lockdowns, I would have probably never had the idea to put it on record and CD and vinyl, and there's a Blu-ray as well, and that shows Sweden rock and a nice documentary. It's like 90 minutes long.
Wow.
And but we didn't plan for it. But luckily we got some really nice recordings, and we touched it up a little bit because there was always something, you know, a feedback or a cable which didn't work. So we had to touch it up a little bit, and it took like 6 months to do. And usually on a new record I always take 2-3 years, sometimes longer. So this was the fastest yet, but it was so much fun. It was so weird. In the studio, everything was so happening. I was watching the fans when we did like the Blu-ray DVD, and then I walked outside, and there was a total lockdown. Nobody on the street, and sometimes I got stopped by the police when it was like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Where are you going? Like, well, I was just working. And sure. And no, I'm doing music. We always work at night and working in the studio. And then I really had to explain myself because, it was heavy and nobody was allowed on the streets a couple of months. And, oh, man. But in the studio, everything was great. And when I saw the fans, it felt like awesome. And I thought, it definitely keeps my spirit up high.
Yeah, and I want to talk about your spirit because, you know, I tell you, you know, you seem like a woman half your age. I mean, your enthusiasm, just talking to you today and hearing you talk about all this, is infectious. And I think that's a big part of why fans, you know, love Doro, because, I mean, you were just so enthusiastic about everything you do. And I love the fact, like you said, that you weren't even planned. It just kind of happened by accident. Sometimes that's the best way to do things, you know?
Absolutely, you know, when it comes out spontaneous. And Sweden Rock was actually the first show we ever did, playing this in the entire Triumph Agony. And there's something about when you do something for the first time that it sometimes can carry the most magic. When I do vocals, when I lay down tracks, the first take is usually the best. And then I always say, I want to do it again. But the first one has like some feeling, there's an innocence about it, which is so powerful and great. But I'm enthusiastic because of the fans. When I know, I do it for the fans, and I always know some people, you know, I have them in the back of my mind, and I think, they will probably love that version of East Meets West.
Yeah, I love hearing that. I love hearing that.
It's like, that's what I live for. It's for the fans.
I mean, you sound just as excited as you were when you were first starting out, and you know, kind of to take home what you're saying. I mean, that's why I think like the very first song, you got so many great songs, Doro, throughout your catalog of music, but I the one that really is special to me is All We Are, and part of the reason that's the very first thing I ever heard by Warlock, and it's just a great rock anthem. Every time I think of Doro or Warlock, that's like the first song that comes to mind. But like I said, there's so many great songs in your catalog.
Yeah, but I would totally agree. I think All We Are is an anthem, but we play it live, and we played it live every single show. There was not one show in my life where we didn't play All We Are when this record came out, and it has so much like power, and it has so much good energy, and you want to sing along, you feel good immediately. And I could tell when we were recording it, the original, it was in New York, the Power Station studio. And then we had all kinds of people coming into the studio to sing the backgrounds, like fans, and even people off the street. We asked, hey, can you guys come up and help us sing that song? And you know, and so many people say, great, yes, we're on a record, cool. So we were all hanging out there, and then I was with the engineer, and the guys were singing, and I tell you, I could feel, man, that song has magic, and this should be the first single, the first video, and then it worked out great, and it was a great time in 87, 88, when, you know, Headbangers Ball was still on, and, you know, and MTV played all these metal bands, and it was different times, and it was, to me, it was one of the best memories, you know. Like, and then, and then we hopped on tour with Ronnie James Dio in Europe, which was, it was a dream come true for me. And then in America, it was Megadeth and Sanctuary, and it was fantastic.
So many great metal acts at that time, as you point out, and you mentioned the legendary Ronnie James Dio, who I know you knew very well. I seen a picture online recently of you holding the new Ronnie James Dio book, and so what do you think about the book? Because I mean, I've got it myself, and I think, wow, it's just a great read.
I collect everything. Everything, and I'm a big Ronnie fan. And I love it. And I think it's great. I love the pictures, and it brings back these great memories. And
I bet.
Jimmy Bain is on one picture too.
Yeah.
He was a great bass player too, and he unfortunately died. And I have the best memories. And so I love the pictures. That's so awesome. I love when books have pictures in them. And I know some books they come without pictures, but I prefer,
Of course, I'm with you there. And talking about that, that's another thing that I'm looking forward to getting this new CD, because I'm going to get the one with CD and DVD or Blu-ray, and that takes me back when I was growing up, like in the 70s and 80s, when they had what was called sound and vision. I love, getting sets like this where you get a video, if I want to listen to CD in my car when I'm driving, that's great too, but then I can go home and I can watch the live video, as you say, and really get a feel for what was going on that day.
Yes, and if you want to have some special stuff, there are many collectors, and we have there's this little figurine, it's the Warlock holding me in his arms. And,
wow.
It's in a different box set, and a cassette as well.
And vinyl and cassette, wow.
Yeah, the vinyl, it's marbled vinyl, a cassette, then the figurine, and then it's in the biggest album cover you can imagine. It's like life size, and it's that iconic thing where the Warlock is holding me. So I think there's good stuff for collectors, for the diehard fans, and now this is
This has been released on your own Rare Diamonds label. Is that correct?
Yes. That's the reason why I can do all these nice, like things, all the old school stuff. I still love old school stuff.
Oh, me too.
So, yes.
I mean,
to do it, and sometimes the record companies, they don't want to do the box sets anymore, or vinyl, or double vinyl, or picture disc. So I thought, oh man, I want to do it. I love to keep it alive.
I mean, if you can do it, great, because Doro, I mean, I'll tell you, some people that have been doing a great job of that. David Coverdale from Whitesnake, he's been putting out all these great box sets, re-releasing a lot of his music, and he's doing a great job.
I love him. Oh, that was my first concert I've ever seen in my life, and David Coverdale, Dio and David Coverdale, that was like main inspiration, and I gotta check that out. And
talking about Coverdale, I mean, when you talk to people about Deep Purple, they tell you, okay, what's your favorite album? Usually either Machine Head or Burn. I love both those albums, but Burn really has got a special place in my heart, because when I realized that was David Coverdale, from Whitesnake, I thought, wow. And to find out he was only 21 when he joined Deep Purple, and and he was able to fill those huge shoes of Ian Gillan, I thought, wow. If after Ian Gillan left, they were able to do an album like that, that says a lot about that guy, the talent that he has.
Totally, and I loved him so much on our last real album, the Rapper Warriors Friend United. I covered the song of Whitesnake, and it's "Don't Break My Heart Again."
Oh.
I love that song so much, and I think the version came out really good. You gotta check it out.
I do, because I'm a huge Whitesnake fan, Coverdale fan, and Black Sabbath. They've been releasing putting a lot of these great box sets out. The next one, I think, is coming out in October. Going to be Technical Ecstasy with a bunch of rare stuff. So I love stuff like that. And so, talk a little bit about that. What's it like to have your own label now, be able to put the stuff out the way you want to? Because I mean, back in the day, I mean, when you were just starting out, your whole thing was to get signed by a label. Now you've got your own label, and you can kind of do it the way you want. That's got to be totally cool.
Hey, that is so cool, and I have always something to do. So I never get bored. Even when there's a lot, I can always do something, and exciting stuff for especially the diehard fans. And I had so many records when I was in the record companies AFM and FPV, and I got all the rights back. And I thought, I would love to put them out myself in a different version.
Yeah.
Take care care of the nice artwork, and so that's how this idea came about. But I'm still with Nuclear Blast.
Okay.
The new album, the real new album, will probably be on Nuclear Blast next year. But the Triumph Agony Live is on the
and then the last release you talked about, the Diamonds release with all these great rare tracks that a lot of people haven't heard. I mean, what a monster thing. I mean, for fans. I mean, I love stuff like that, box sets and bonus tracks and stuff we've never heard before. I mean, they recently put out regarding Black Sabbath, a reissue of Heaven and Hell of Mob Rules. Man, just got some great stuff on there if you're a Ronnie fan.
Yeah, nice. I gotta check that out. Yeah, I gotta check it out. And the last release, the Magic Diamonds album, that started out because I thought, okay, we can't go on tour anymore.
You gotta do something, yeah.
And then I thought I want to do a best of, and maybe we do some versions and pick some live versions. And I thought, I would start with 15 songs, maybe my 15 favorites, and then it became 25, then 35, then 45, and then it winded up 56 songs. And I thought, oh my gosh, and there's still some songs.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, do it the right way. And Dora, it's hard to believe that's been almost a year since that was released, and now you're about to release this new album. Now, another thing I wanted to ask you about is the artwork. Once again, it was done by this guy Jeffrey Gillespie, who I recently heard you talking about. He's like your favorite artist. So I wanted to ask you, do you remember how you first hooked up with him? And what's it about his artwork that really kind of made such a lasting impression on you?
Yeah, actually, when we had the album was almost done, and I went to my manager. His name was Alex Grove, and I said, Alex, I would love to have a real great album cover, a painting. I'm a big fantasy art fan, and our first album cover, there was Burning the Witches, and we provided the artwork to the record company. It was a small label, it was Mount in Belgium, and and it was a great artwork, and the Warlock looked exactly like he was supposed to look, like this male with thin and old and gray long hair. So when the record came out, we almost died because they reworked it, somebody painted it, and the Warlock was suddenly totally fat, had no hair, had an ass on his head. That's how it looks. And we were so we thought, oh no, that doesn't look like the Warlock. And so when Triumph Agony was almost done, and I told Alex, I would like to have it done right, And he said, oh, I think I know somebody, maybe you guys should meet. So we met, and Jeffrey, he was cool, and he said, well, I give you all kinds of sketches, and then you pick and choose, we talk about it. And a couple of weeks later, I went to Alex's office, it was in Manhattan, and he put all these sketches on the floor, and they were so great. I couldn't even make up my mind which I liked the most. Just go ahead, do it. Do what you feel. And then we actually had two album covers. It was the front and then the back, where I'm in the Warlock's hand and squeezing, and it's like, it's so unbelievable. And so I thought the Triumph Agony Live should be like a combination between great live pictures and between iconic painting of Jeffrey. So we put it all together. I think it came out really nice. It's blue again. I love blue, so it looks really good. And it's immediately what it is. Like as that's Triumph Agony, and I think live it sounds even more powerful, and you hear the fans and the atmosphere. I think sounds awesome, and I'm really, really happy, and I hope that the fans love it as much as we love it.
And I bet you're finding out that there's still a huge fan base for the band Warlock. I mean, because you've got this huge solo career now that you've been doing for many, many years. But I mean, that's what had to make this so much special. Find out that the fans still are just as much love that music from back in the day that you did with Warlock.
Yeah, Jason, totally. And all over the world, wherever we go, everybody knows all we are and sings along, and it's awesome. And still and metal is in so good shape, so we can go all over the world, and you can be sure they're all like metalheads.
Oh yeah, and I should tell people too, if they're not aware of it, we should thank Doro too, because if George Lynch is not in Dokken these days, we have the current Dokken guitarist is John Levin. He was briefly a member of Warlock. So thank you, Doro, for giving us John Levin.
Yes, and Tommy Hendrickson,
who
was my bass player in the Triumph Agony thing. He's now the guitar player of Alice Cooper. So, so all these guys, they do great.
And Johnny D from Britney Fox, great drummer.
Actually, Johnny D is still with us.
Oh, wow.
He did like a little thing with Britney, but I don't think that is.
No, he's no more these days for being the Doro drummer. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and he lives now in Germany.
Wow.
He fell in love, and now he stayed in Germany, and he has a little boy. And
oh, wow.
Wow, I never thought that we'd have kids in our band, but now, a couple of them guys, and it's great. And since I never thought I would ever become a mom, I'm only doing CDs or vinyl, but it's great, So, I love kids, and that's the new metal generation too. So,
oh, yeah. And so I always wanted to ask you, how did you come to name the band Warlock? Was that a suggestion somebody gave you, or was it based on the little Warlock character that was created?
It was based on the Warlock character. We wanted to, of course, we were totally metalheads. Warlock was this male witch, and it sounded like magic. And visually it was great. Everybody loved like the Warlock on the T-shirt. Really, really scary, and it was perfect. And so we found it in an old magic book. So that's how we.
Now, Doro, you're such a sweetheart. But I got to ask you, back when Warlock was just coming out in the 80s, and being that that's the case, did you ever have people ask you, like, are you a witch, or do you believe in black magic? Because back in the 80s, I mean, you heard crazy stuff about, Ozzy biting the head off of a bat, or being a devil worshiper and all this. Yeah.
No, actually, well, when I was a teenager, I guess I was flirting with everything.
Oh, hey,
Magic was great and stuff, and playing the Ouija board and all.
Yeah.
But I'm totally with the angels.
Of course. Yeah.
And I love God. It's not. That was actually when you're a teenager, you're rebellious, and then everything dark is like more fascinating, and being like destructive.
Well, it's kind of a metal thing, I was reading.
I definitely want to give out positive energy.
Of course, yeah.
And sometimes people call me up and they say, "Hey, Doro, there's a problem," or my mom is sick, or my girlfriend is sick, or something. And I say, "Can you pray? Can you pray?" And I said, "Yeah."
Of course.
I pray my hardest. So I believe in good energy, good power, and And I must say, in the 80s, there weren't so many problems, so you could just get away with that.
So much,
Kill 'Em All was my favorite record, so but now I think times, man, they're so rough, so I definitely want to empower people and give out good powerful.
And you're still to me the original, next to Lita Ford, and maybe even Joan Jett, the original, girl rocker. But what do you think of bands like the Butcher Babies? I mean, I love what they're doing too these days.
Yeah, me too. I met Carla when we did these cruise ships, the Monsters of Rock cruise and stuff, and she was super nice, and I think they look stunning. And I love all the ladies, all the girls. We just played with Ginger. I think she's super talented.
Oh, cool.
And Lacuna Coil and Flor Jansen of Nightwish and Taya and Hailstorm. I love all the women.
So you're
I'm a big fan of Goddess. They were like from England, and they came out in the 80s. Oh, Jodie Turner, there was the singer. I still love her. Lee Aaron, of course. Lita and me were great friends. We're pretty much all connected, and I love them all, and I think they're all great. And Elisa from Arch Enemy, I love.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're in good shape. It's great to see.
And the thing is, and this is true, there's so many female-fronted bands these days that we've kind of lost track, as you've just proven. But I mean, there was a time when, it was you and Lita Ford. I mean, all these other people you just mentioned, they've kind of followed you guys, and you were kind of in the forefront. And there's something to be said for that. And I guess before I let you go, Doro, the very final question I have for you is, So you said next year we're going to get a new Doro studio album. Have you already started recording? Are you in the process of that, or where are we with that?
I started recording, and then when there was so many travel restrictions and the lockdown, then I started the Triumph Agony live thing, but we recorded something last year, and I think sounds awesome. There's 6 songs done, and so we're halfway there. I think sound great, powerful, great melodies, like really, I think meaningful lyrics. It's great. So next year, definitely a new album, and
Well, thank you, Doro, for so much for calling in today. I know you're calling from Germany, so I don't know what time it is there, but it's early morning here. So thanks for doing this. And the interview will be going up in the next couple of weeks. I will be sure to let your publicist know the minute it goes up, and feel free to post on any of your sites. We love that. So let's stay in touch, and I'm sure we'll do it again when the new album comes out.
Oh, yeah, great. I would love it. And thanks so much for having me, and all the best, Jason. Stay healthy, stay happy.
Oh, yeah, like you, Doro. We love Doro in the United States, and I just want to say we love your enthusiasm. So keep it up.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem. I love the States. You know that. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to see everybody on tour again.
Won't that be great? You take care, and bye-bye.